Thank you so much for downloading today's episode of the Red Pill Investor. My name's Carl Krenzel. Thank you so much for joining me here today on this special edition of the Red Pill Investor. The first time we've actually been able to do a video podcast here on the Red Pill Investor, along with our sister station over there at SellMoreHomesNow on YouTube. If you get an opportunity to check that out, I would definitely encourage you to go ahead and do that. Today, what we're going to talk about are the 5 ways a real estate recession affects you. Now, undoubtedly, if you've been watching any of the news, if you've been listening to any of the pundits on the paper or on the newspapers, CNN, MSNBC, any of those, you've been listening in and you've been hearing about how the inverted yield has been triggered. There's been indications perhaps that there's a recession on the horizon. And the stock market seems to have done pretty well today. But regardless of how the stock market does, or if the recession comes or not, if this is a false start, if this is something to be worried about or not, I think we could all agree that we've taken a moment to think about the possibilities of a recession. Now I have to ask you, have you ever been in a recession? And if you haven't, don't worry, because I have, and I can tell you a couple things that will help you in this and how you can go ahead and prepare for it when the time comes. And today what we're going to talk about are the 5 ways that a real estate recession affects you, so that you'll be prepared, so that you can go ahead and take the steps you feel necessary so you can go ahead and be ready when the time comes. So if you've got a pen and a paper, I would encourage you to go ahead and take some notes. Let's go ahead and write down point number 1. The mindset gets tested. The mindset gets tested. Yes, absolutely. When you think about it, your mindset gets tested. You know, when you think about what's going on in a real estate recession, could you imagine what all the news being like every day about how the economy is this or the economy is that? I mean, for many of us, it's not that hard for us to remember the recession that was not so long ago in 2008. If you were practicing in that time, you can remember how powerful of an impact all the news had day in and day out had on your mindset. And that's why that's one of the very first things I want to bring to your attention. When the mindset comes, when the recession comes, when things change, you might have even noticed it when this inverted yield and all the news, and your mindset might have went to a place. Your mindset gets tested. You know, if your mindset's getting tested, well, gosh, so are your clients and so are your customers. Their mindsets are also likewise being tested. They're hearing the same things you're hearing. Other agents in the marketplace, they're going to be dealing with the same problems you're going to be dealing with. They're going to be hearing the same things, and some of them are probably not going to be the same level of producer as you are. You're going to be a level of producer that, you know, you're more inclined to take risk. You're more inclined to go out there and take aggressive action to solve problems, but not everybody's like you. As a matter of fact, this deal or two that they've got is about the only deal that they've had in months, and if it doesn't close, well, gosh, they're going to lose their car. That's not fun. So it becomes very real very quick. So the mindset is one of the first things that gets tested when the market recession comes. The second thing that happens, real leads become difficult to find, right? It's difficult to find some good leads. Now, it's not that there's fewer motivated sellers. No, there's still motivated sellers. It's just there's fewer would like to sellers, fewer tire kickers. You know, because when you think about it, it's the would like to sells and the tire kickers that make up a good market sometimes, all the time. And when you think about it, the person who would like to sell, because the market's doing so well, they're able to sell and they're able to go ahead and move into something that they would like. Tire kickers, many times, if they kick enough tires, they get pretty lucky. How do you find more leads when the market starts to contract? Well, first you want to expand the service area that you're working in. You want to make sure that you work areas that you don't ordinarily work in. Work properties and property types that you maybe don't ordinarily work in. Price ranges, that's another big one. Don't be afraid to go up a little higher or a little bit lower than maybe you have in the past, because that'll help you. Right? You need more properties, more people, and more opportunities, more at-bats, if you will. The third thing that I've noticed that will happen in a real estate recession, follow-up and pre-qualification becomes even more critical. You know, it's been said that when times are good, 70% of your business comes from lead follow-up. I would posit to you, however, that when times are bad, that 90% of the business you get comes from follow-up. And they're indecisive. I mean, the buyers, the sellers, the people you're dealing with, it's not like they're going to remember your name. It's not like they're always going to want to deal with you, and they're going to have a lot of choices. So it's up to us to make sure that we go ahead and make the choices we can to go ahead and call them up, remind them of what's available, and see what kind of decisions they want to make. I mean, since they don't know what to do and they're indecisive, and since time's the only thing you have, it's the only asset you have, you don't want to waste it unnecessarily. Make sure you pre-qualify everybody 100%. That's one tip that Mike Ferry taught me for sure. Pre-qualify 100% of the people 100% of the time, because you cannot afford to waste any time at all. You know, the fourth thing that I found is that discount companies fail. Discount companies fail. Companies like Open Door, Zillow, other iBuyers that use algorithms to buy homes are going to be in a lot of trouble very, very soon. Discount brokers always have problems in down markets, and sellers recognize that the useful agents bring value to the table. Agents who also invest have specialized knowledge that their competitors do not have. Now, it's true that OfferPad and Open Door and other places like that have become forces in certain markets, but they're still to a lesser degree. And when the market changes, it's going to be very difficult for them to remain profitable. Even Zillow has a hard time admitting how much money they're making, because they're probably not. The fifth thing that you'll notice in a recession that changes, your individual sales skills are critical. See, it doesn't matter if you're a listing agent or a buyer's agent or an investor. If you're trying to buy a property or an investment property on the market, fundamentals remain the same. You have to generate the lead by any means necessary. You have to follow up with the lead. You have to make a presentation to that lead in one form or another. You have to handle their questions. And you have to ask for the business, which is closing. Those fundamentals don't change. And when the market becomes harder to deal with, those are the things you're going to need to learn and practice to remain successful. I hope these tips were helpful for you. I hope my experience has helped. If it was, do me a favor, like, share, and rate. I sure would appreciate it. And as always, I hope